It's me, Alex, stay-at-home reader. Today, since we're a week into February, I figure I'm going to wrap up January. I'm going to start with a book haul. I've gone out of control with my book shopping. I had every intention of just reading from my shelves, tackling my own TBR, getting that under control. But there were gift cards and reading plans. Yeah, just retail therapy. It's been a year. So yeah, let's start with the book haul. First of all, I got 2 books for Christmas that I would not have shared already. So one of them, The Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff. So Nate bought me this for Christmas, and he also bought me Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfeld. It's downstairs. I didn't grab it. I already read it. We'll talk about that in a minute. I had a thrift books order, so I wanted to make sure I got a copy of Black Empire by George Schuyler. This is an Afrofuturism novel written during the Harlem Renaissance, I believe, and Nicole, Noteworthy Fiction, had hauled this at some point last year, and when she described it, it tells the electrifying tale of Dr. Henry Belsidis, a Black scientific genius who masterminds a worldwide conspiracy to take back the African continent from imperial powers and punish Europe and America for white supremacy and the crimes against the planet's Black population. And I was like, yeah, Nicole, I will be reading that with you. So I had found it on ebook, but Thrift Books had a former library copy available, and so I bought my own copy. Along with that, I ordered a copy of Invisible Man. This had been sitting in my cart forever, and then it came up as a viewer choice for Nicole's January TBR, and she turned it, oh, there's my pencil falling out. I finished it yesterday, actually, but I want to reread the epilogue, and I have just been like underlining the crap out of this book. So yeah, today I'm rereading the ending. This book is a lot. That's a conversation for another time. This is just the haul portion. So I ordered this again on Thrift Books for the purpose of buddy reading. The rest of that order, this autobiography of Satchel Paige, Maybe I'll Pitch Forever. I need to know more about Satchel Paige. I've only read like a children's like illustrated book biography and a graphic novel biography of Satchel Paige. I read the introduction the day it got delivered and was laughing, was really enjoying it, and I decided I would put this aside to read this month, now February, because pictures, report for spring training, so I figured it'll get me into the baseball vibe, leading into spring training and also being Black History Month. So this is going to be read very soon. And then I purchased a copy of Unrig, How to Fix Our Broken Democracy. What I'm going to do is go through it and kind of write like critical thinking questions, just to open discussions with Oliver as part of a class assignment for him. Because homeschool mom, everything has to be an educational experience. But I think this will be good. I earned a free book. I purchased The Every by Dave Eggers. This is the sequel to The Circle, which is, I think, one of my favorite books. I've read it twice, loved it twice. I want Nate to read it, but he's not that interested. I think it's fascinating. At the time I read it as a like Google cautionary tale, but I think now it's come to pass that we can read it with like a meta lens and know like, oh, yikes, this is happening, and like that we're doing it to ourselves, I think is the scariest part of that story. Anyway, this is the sequel, which someone from my book club had contacted me for book recommendations, and I was like, hey, have you read The Circle? And he's like, yes. And then I was like, oh yeah, because we read it for book club a few years ago. And he said, this is even better. So I'm scared yet excited. I want to reread The Circle before I go into this. I'm so excited. Okay, that's my thrift books haul. I went to Barnes and Noble with a gift card, and I accidentally spent too much money. So I knew Barnes and Noble was having a half off hardcover sale, so I wanted to get myself a copy of Colored Television by Danzy Senna. Have I read Danzy Senna before? No. Do I already have her on my shelves? Yes. I own a copy of Caucasia that I have not gotten to. So if I was thinking clearly, I would have read that first before spending money, but girl math, I would be losing money if I didn't buy it now. So I bought Colored Television by Danzy Senna. So I also wanted to get myself a copy of Orbital by Samantha Harvey. This won the Booker Prize in 2024. I tried listening to it on audio, but could not focus. I was lost. Not lost. I just felt my attention drifting. From what I understand, it's just a very slow, introspective type of read. And so I think I will love it. I'm gonna go ahead and guess I'm going to actually give this 5 stars. So yeah, I needed just a physical copy so that I can absorb it better than I was able to with a drifting focus for audiobook. Okay, so 50% off of hardcover plus a paperback. I still had a little bit of money left on my gift card. I figured I'd go over by like $10. No big deal. Because hardcovers are half off, right? And I was like, wow, for this chunker, like worth it. And then I got to the register, was surprised by how much I owed after the gift card. This was not half off, but I did not return it. This is Ours by Philip B. Williams. This is, I'm going to guess magical realism. Possibly surrealism. Oh, yep. Informed by Black surrealism, mythology, and spirituality. So I'm on it there. Ours is a stunning exploration of the possibilities and limitations of love and freedom by a writer of capacious vision and talent. So I believe this is like a alternate history, I guess you would call it, like a speculative alternate history. So this novel introduces us to an enigmatic woman named Saint, a fearsome conjurer who in the 1830s annihilates plantations all over Arkansas to rescue the people enslaved there. She brings those she has freed to a haven of her own creation, a town just north of St. Louis, magically concealed from outsiders named Ours. And I feel like this will go well read, maybe not in tandem, but like in short order with Black Empire. I want to be careful not to read too much Black trauma during Black History Month and to make sure I have some uplifting Black stories. And I feel like this has the potential to be that. So it is chunky, but I'm trying not to let book size intimidate me anymore. Then in lesson planning for Oliver's history class, I got out a book on the Mexican-American War, and right on the back it was talking about how not everyone agreed with this political campaign. In fact, Henry David Thoreau went to prison for speaking out against it. And then I was like, you know what? I think I need a copy of Civil Disobedience. This is a combination of Walden and Civil Disobedience by Henry David Thoreau. I don't really care to read Walden at the moment, so I'm just gonna, this bit. Civil Disobedience. That's all I actually want to read at the moment. So that's gonna happen soon, because then I went to the book signing, which I vlogged, purchased Interesting Facts About Space by Emily Austen, and it's signed. And she was there for the release of We Could Be Rats, which came out January 28th. I had already read a copy digitally through NetGalley. I'd given it 4.5 stars. I'm going to reread this pretty soon, I think, while the experience and the conversation with Emily Austen is still fresh. And now that I'm more familiar with the structure and the way she plays with narrator in this book, I'm wondering if it will jump up to a 5-star. It was 4.5 stars. Her other 2 novels have been 5 stars. So let's see if she can go 3 for 3, actually, now that I know what's going on. I guess I have a few library books out that are really just kind of references that I'm looking into for homeschooling stuff. But these 2 just came in, so they're actually getting bumped to the top of my February TBR. Was not expecting this to come in so early. Grady Hendrix's Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. Grady Hendrix is such a popular author that I figured I would be on a wait list for a while. Came out, I believe, also in January, maybe the first, second week of the month. And here we are, first week of February, I already have it. So I started it last night, actually. I'm a chapter in. I read at Oliver's baseball practice, and then I tried to read in bed and just could not. So I'm just like a chapter and a half in. And then I got Let's Call Her Barbie. This is a novel by Renee Rosen. I don't know why I wanted this. I think I was checking to see if there was like a novelization of the Barbie movie. Don't remember what my thought process was that brought me to this, where like I wanted to see about exploring a little something. Probably, you know, the conflicts of what's expected of womanhood, and I don't know. I was on a thing. I had a thought cycle going, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if there's a novelization of the Barbie movie so that I could like annotate the movie. Like, I can't do that visually. So I found the screenplay, thought about ordering a copy of that for that purpose. I think it's pretty cheap on thrift books. And then I saw this novel, and the library had it, so I requested it. This is a fictionalized story of Ruth Handler, who is the creator of Barbie. I'm gonna try it. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm gonna try it. I don't know. I was on a Barbie thing. I'm already over it, but so I'm glad it was a library book. Okay, that's it for haul. What should we do next? So what I decided to do this year, I have a spreadsheet going as usual. I'm tracking my reads on Storygraph, which you will see in a second. But I've decided to keep the spreadsheet simple and make myself a zine each month to track what I'm reading and to track daily my reading habits. The Storygraph has a really impressive feature with a calendar at the end of the month that tracks the days you read and it keeps track of when you finish a book. I, however, do not update Storygraph daily. I do my best, but it doesn't always happen. So what I did, I found this says January, a year of good reading ahead. It's just a cover from something. It says made for statewide WPA Library Project Illinois. Illinois? What? Then my paper is very low weight, so you can kind of see through because I printed double-sided. I have a weekly reading log where I adapted a planner template on Canva. So I just put the book cover and the format. I have the dates that the week spans. And then here I have the days of the week. So the month started on a Wednesday. I put the title and then just kind of tick off the day of the week that I read each book. Maybe if I fold it back, that'll be not much easier. And then I have a space to track my hauled books and books that are going to be upcoming or read soon. So I did that for every week. As I finished books, I put a little check mark, and then if I chose to DNF, I knocked those off as well. So then at the end of the month, here on the back, I downloaded the Storygraph's reading wrap-up. So this tells me I finished 10 books. I read 3,476 pages. My average rating was a 3.48. I guess that's good. I feel like I'm a high rater, so I'm surprised that I did not have any 5-star books. Have not read a 5-star book yet. 90% fiction, 10% nonfiction. Top genres: fantasy, mystery, romance, literary, contemporary. And the back cover is the Storygraph's cover collage with the ratings. So in January, I read 4 of the Southern Vampire Mysteries. So books 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the series, the Sookie Stackhouse series, or the True Blood book series. True Blood is the name of the HBO show, which I'm not a fan. This is my 3rd time reading through the series. It is a blast. Typically, I feel like thrillers and mysteries are not something you can reread because what's the point when you know the whodunit, when you know the catch? I don't remember the mystery aspect at all. The character stuff, the development of relationships, and like the friendships and betrayals and like the character stuff is what sticks with me and stuck with me, and it's again what jumps out to me in the series. I love it. They're so much fun. My sister is reading the series for the first time along with me, and so it's just fun to kind of message back and forth with her every once in a while. As we check in, she'll have questions. She's like, wait, what's going on with this one? I'm like, oh, who cares? Like, can we talk about Eric Northman, the Viking vampire, please? And because swoon. I am now having the experience as a more mature, older, socially conscious reader than I was when I first went through the series and immediately went back to the beginning to get to the newest released book. In my early to mid 20s, and here we are, creeping up on 40. I'm a different person. The world is a different place. I'm picking up on language that's questionable. I'm picking up on the fact that I knew these were the Southern Vampire Mysteries. I knew these take place in Louisiana, Deep South. There's a little bit of antebellum romanticization. Wow. It's not a word I say often, I guess. Anyway, there's a lot of looking back on the Old South with a level of fondness, descriptions that verge on fetishization of dark skin. Sookie herself, it's the main character. It's written in first person. A lot of the physical descriptors she'll give of her own body or her own, the way outfits make her look, the way she loves to suntan, it's a little objectifying. However, I see it as author fantasy. This is written by a woman of a different physical makeup than her main character. And so I think she's having her own kind of D&D adventure with her characters, I guess you could say, like what Charlaine Harris is doing with Sookie, and she's having fun with it. Like, so the body description is okay. You know, I think the fact that it's a female writer in the first place excuses and permits a little bit more than, you know, a male writer would raise some eyebrows, especially when you learn more about their secret proclivities. Anyway, so it's not a perfect series, but I am just having a great time with it. And all those problems, I don't think are written with bad intent. And I think my suspicion and my hope is that they are subconscious internal biases that the author herself probably has no idea she's engaging in. But certain readers in certain times, certain types of mindsets are going to make it so, you know, we read behind, we're a little more sensitive to language choice than anyone would have anticipated or intended a reader to be. And for that reason, I can't give these books 5 stars. I mean, they're just not written well, surface level. But in terms of how much fun I'm having with the series, that's great. Wow. I read other books too. I read The Trees as a buddy read with Nicole, and a couple other people joined in on the Storygraph by Percival Everett. I expected this to be 5 stars, and it was not. It ended up being a 3.75. There were moments that I loved where it was going. I loved the speculative nature that, you know, there was so much of the book I was going, it's supernatural, right? It has to be supernatural. If it's not supernatural, I'm going to be pissed. And then there's a moment where you get some answers, but then shortly after that, you have all the same questions again. The writing style was imperfect. I really enjoy the sarcasm and the satire it's written with. I did feel like this book was written for adaptation. I felt like some chapters didn't need to be there. They were almost just like cutaway scenes that you would expect on a TV show. James by Percival Everett was my favorite book of 2024. And I'm definitely interested in reading more from him. This one was interesting, but ultimately kind of a miss. Then We Could Be Rats, which I already talked about. I gave that a 4.75 star. Listened to Against Techno-Ableism, which is a nonfiction. This one was kind of a miss too. This I learned about through a TikTok or reel. Spoiler alert, we are no longer on TikTok. And we're trying to get away from Instagram and Reels. But anyway, that's where I learned about this book by Ashley Shrew. And this came up in a discussion about the huge AI flub from Fable. And so I expected this book to center more on upcoming technologies and the fact that AI is created and coded in a way that discriminates against certain groups. That's not what I got from this book at all. Parts of it were interesting. It also just felt like anyone who has any sort of social media presence or follows any, not that I have a social media presence, but I follow social media. It was basically a sum up of my For You page. Like, I didn't get anything new out of this book. Chapter on prosthetics I found the most interesting. Because that was the one she had direct knowledge of and experience with. Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield, I gave 3.5 stars. I think I read this book wrong. I'm not one who can sit and read a full book in a day anymore. I just don't have the time or attention span. But I think that's how this book should be read. It's about a woman who travels to the Marianas Trench. It's supposed to be a 3-week mission. She gets stuck down there for 6 months. And so it alternates between her story there, but I think the main character is her wife, who is now relaying how weird and creepy things are with her wife back. And like, she's not the same person who left. Something happened and she wants to know what it is. There's some change her wife is undergoing. And so it's a very slow, ominous, creepy, emotional type of book that should be read in 1 or 2 sittings. I think it's an atmospheric book, and I read it a couple pages here, a couple pages here, a couple pages here over majority of the month, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and that was a disservice to the tone and the atmosphere of the book. So it was only a 3.5 star for me. Onyx Storm. I listened to Onyx Storm. I had no intention of returning to this series, which is harsh because I binged Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Most people hate Iron Flame. I really, really liked Iron Flame. Can't remember why. In fact, starting Onyx Storm, I had no idea who was who and what had happened. Like, I was just like, whatever. I'm here for the spice. As much as I loved the first 2 books, I had no intention of, like, I'm over it. I moved on. Those probably filled a need I had for entertainment last year when I listened to them. No longer need the same thing out of the same type of books at this moment anyway. But it was available for free. Well, as part of my basic Everand subscription. I didn't have to upgrade my plan to get the unlocks that Everand now does, which is ridiculous. And so I had like a book girl math, and I felt like I would be losing money if I didn't listen to this highly anticipated, hugely popular, like, lost the word, but anyway, I had seen all these issues arising from the book's release, and people had spent so much money on special editions and were let down and were disappointed in the illustrations that were used and were pissed at Target for not doing pre-order, and like just seeing like all like the drama around the release of this book. I was like, it's available on my basic level subscription to Everand, so like I would be losing money if I, the same as like I was losing money if I didn't buy Caucasia Now. I would be losing money if I didn't listen to this book. I was never in the situation where I didn't want to turn it back on. Like I was invested, I guess, during the course of it. I've since seen like videos of people reacting to it and like fangirling over the book and like, oh my gosh, when this happens, oh my gosh, when this happens. And I'm like, that happened? Like it's already wiped from my memory. So yeah, 2.5 stars. Also 2.5 stars was The Infernals by John Connolly. This is an audiobook I listened to with Oliver. So the book we listened to before this was The Gates. And so now The Infernals is book 2 of that series. Oliver loved The Gates, and so I was like, let's continue on. The Gates we used as part of an English elective class that we're doing. I don't think he liked it as much. Chuckled a few times. Like there were certain characters he liked. They're just silly books. The first one's about a young boy who accidentally stumbles upon his neighbors summoning accidentally themselves summoning a demon who then tries to open the gates of hell. In the second book, he gets brought into hell. So instead of demons coming to our world, he is now in theirs. And it's just silly and bananas, and it's basically Terry Pratchett for kids. But where I loved The Gates, when I read it years and years ago, I thought it was okay. Listening to it with Oliver, this second book was not good, 2.5 stars. So I have to see if he wants to finish off the series. It's a trilogy. And then after that was 2 more audiobooks, the vampire books that I already discussed them as one whole unit. And then I was reading Invisible Man, which I didn't finish until just yesterday. So that gets pushed into my February wrap up. So February, my reading plans, obviously I started Grady Hendrix yesterday. So I think these, just because they're library books, will be first ups. Then I want to read the Satchel Paige. So I want to go through the stuff I hauled. I want to be like, most recent and gets read sooner rather than later. So I want to read that one. I would love to get to Hours. But Oliver is currently reading Of Mice and Men for his 9th grade literature assignments. That's curriculum we're using is called Fish Tank Learning. So we're on unit 3 now. So he's starting with Of Mice and Men. And then from there, he's going to go, I think the theme of this unit is prejudice in justice systems. So they're tying that in because I think once he finishes the book, they're going to look at the real life case that inspired the book and then go into the Central Park 5. So I should be reading this now ahead of him. So that's got to be done soon. And then my book club is reading Lessons in Chemistry for February, which I bought used at the library for $3. I'm trying to be mood ready and not give myself too concrete of plans. So all of that, I guess we could use the new POP, Pile of Possibilities acronym instead of TBR. Because will I be read? I don't know. Oh yeah, I want to read this too. So that was a lot, but I so infrequently film that when I get the house to myself and quiet, I've got a lot to go over. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far, this will be fun to edit. And I will talk to you hopefully soon. Bye.